As food entrepreneurs, it is essential that we are always aware of what is happening around us. This couldn't ring truer in the earliest stages of our business development. We need to become experts in how food tastes and preferences are changing in Sydney, in the world, and wherever we might exist. This helps us to discover opportunities, identify gaps, understand threats, and most importantly, understand problems that might exist in our world. We also need to be aware of who is operating already in the markets that we are looking to involve ourselves in. Is someone already offering a solution? And if yes, how is our solution going to be better or radically different to theirs? In this video, we'll learn how to conduct a full-scale environmental analysis, which includes three things: a trend analysis, a search trend analysis, and then a competitor analysis. So let's get into it. A trend analysis is just a fancy phrase for keeping our eyes peeled on the major global trends and food trends that exist in our world as a result of changes in demographic, political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental factors. So why we do this is because if we don't do this, we fall behind the pack or we fail. Now, I have created a fact sheet on Canvas that pulls together all of these trends into the one place for you. But don't just take my word for it. There are so many wonderful market research firms whose entire business model is to provide you and I with detailed insights of how consumer preferences and tastes are changing, and they're free. So some examples include Deloitte's Future of Food report, the Food Navigator, Mintel have great reports, Roy Morgan Research, and IBISWorld, and also FIAL, which is Food Innovation Australia Limited, just to name a couple. All of the links are on that document that I'll put up for you in Canvas. But for the moment, here is a short summary of the past 30 years of food in Sydney that I've put together through trends, but this only scratches the surface, so stay tuned. There has been an enormous shift in the way people think about the food they eat. Gone are the days of limited choice and low quality and tradition. People are now used to having a wide choice, and people also talk about food in ways they never have before. Standards have increased with them, and so have people's expectations of quality, value, and availability. The average person now knows they're organic from their locally grown, and their air miles from their sustainable. Not only that, but with such cheap air travel, the multiculturalism in Sydney, customers are now more open than ever to trying out new foods. Many of the foods we consider to be our basic shopping basket many years ago were considered exotic and unusual. The same thing will happen in the future for foods that are considered exotic now. And now, more than ever before, shoppers are really interested in knowing where their food comes from, their traceability. Foodie culture has definitely emerged where consumers care about health and nutrition, ethics, quality, naturalness, craft, and heritage. So our decision, or their decision to buy food, more often than not will depend on whether that food addresses these concerns. Changes in family structure and working habits also mean that shoppers are more time poor than ever and care about their simplicity, convenience, on-the-go-ness, and nutritional credentials like high protein, low in fat for their decision making. Now, this kind of analysis can be endless and sometimes distracting if we don't go into the analysis with clear goals and objectives. So try to catch yourself out when you become a little fixated on one particular trend and ensure you can tell the distinction between all the different types of popularity. There's fads, trends, and mega trends. So a fad is a short-lived and widely shared enthusiasm for something new, like a cronut or a sushi burrito. The Atkins diet is a fad. Pretty much any new diet is a fad. A trend, differently to a fad, is much longer and tends to be a general change in societal direction. Think about plant-based foods or ethical consumption. And finally, much more than a trend, if it could morph into something much bigger than a trend, and then it becomes a mega trend. A mega trend is like a major movement in the world at large that happens over decades and essentially will have a significant impact on every single thing you do as a business owner. I'd think about perhaps healthy foods being a mega trend. Its impact on everything we do. We see it all the time at every market, at every food store, at every supermarket. Another way we can see how the world is relating to our own business idea is by conducting what's called a search trend analysis. It's basically using data from search engines like Google or other sites to investigate what the world is actually asking or saying or writing about a specific product or service. It can also be a powerful way to understand seasonality without having to pull up all these extra reports and data. Some of the best tools to use include Google Trends, Google Keyword Planner, Keyword Sheeter, Answer the Public, and Keyword Surfer, all of which I am not an expert on, but there are lots and lots of tutorials on YouTube for using these. However, I will give you a quick overview of Google Trends, which is the easiest to use in my opinion. So let's go there now. Okay, everybody, welcome to the walkthrough of Google Trends. This is going to be fun. I haven't, just to prelude, I haven't looked at this or done any practice on this in a while. This is just a kind of main overview of how it works. So forgive me if I make mistakes or it's a bit messy. But the point of Google Trends is to make it messy. It's all messy because we're trying to use it as an exploratory tool. It's more for discovering new tastes and preferences and competitors that you might not already know about. So make sure, you kind of set time, maybe a time limit for using this because you can get kind of lost in it. But what we're going to do is we're going to go in the main search bar. We're just going to type in Google Trends. That takes us to Google Trends. It should be the first one. It's trends.google.com if you want to go straight there. But this is what it takes you to. It's essentially a similar Google style, but it's got more interesting stuff that people have been searching, obviously, over the past couple of days and weeks and months and years. You can see what's trending at the moment, just in general, but the cool thing is you can search by specific kind of topics or search terms. So an example is I love desserts. So maybe I want to start my business based on desserts, and I want to do some research and see what's happening in the world at the moment in terms of desserts. So all I have to do is type in desserts and see where that takes me. Now that kind of takes us to the United States. I can just change that to Australia. Obviously I can get more specific than that, but this takes us to a cool screen that shows you interest over time, interest by sub-region, related topics, related queries, and it gives you lots of options to kind of look through. But the interest over time is really interesting to me because we can see when the spike in searches are. So there's a big spike at this period of time, which is the November period to December. Not surprising. People like to eat desserts during the Christmas holidays, which is very interesting, but we can change the parameters of this search to say, the past day, and what are people doing the past day? So we can see there's a clear upward trend. What is this, towards nighttime or something like that? Yeah, 6 p.m. people starting to get interested until like about 8 p.m. at night. So we can see a big trend. So maybe in terms of our content calendar, not only do we want to push for, making sure that we're posting stuff during the December period particularly, but also each day we might want to post stuff between those time periods at night. And there's a spike, 104 at 1 a.m. in the morning. People are really interested in desserts, and 3:28 a.m. and 4 a.m. or something like that in the morning. So maybe there's a problem in there. People want to snack, but everything's closed at 4 a.m. in the morning. So that might be interesting to check that out. Then you can kind of look at related topics, which I find really interesting myself. You can check out People are searching baklavas. They're interested in powdered sugar, apparently. They're interested in cherry. This is in the last day, remember? So what we can do is we can go in the past, let's say 30 days. So today is, what is it, the 15th of April. So it's just past Easter at the moment. People have been interested in the last 90 days in almonds. So maybe I want to check out almonds or something like that. Or, Easter desserts have been interesting. People are searching easy desserts recipe. So they want to make something really quick to whip up in the kitchen. Maybe that's at that 4 a.m. snack or something like that. So all these cool assumptions that we can start making here. And keep scrolling through all the different topics. Interested in slow cooking. Maybe there's an idea there of creating a dessert with a slow cooker to repurpose that, the kitchen instrument, I guess. Raw foodism, never heard of it, but again, this is really interesting. I'm learning all this stuff about Easter desserts. People are searching diabetes. That might be interesting to check that out. Diabetes, obviously, we're seeing a big spike in that as people are home at the coronavirus at the moment. They've got a sweet tooth, so maybe my business proposition is making a really healthy dessert that has no sugar in it and does, help with diabetes or something like that. So we can spend hours and hours on this tool. It's really fun. But I just want to remind you that, the point of this is to learn new things. So make sure you're writing down notes alongside your research. Maybe write down what surprised you as well. You also might want to kind of take screenshots of things that were interesting to you and put them on a Word document or something like that. Or you can even export your results. I'm pretty sure you can share them, and there's some options to export somewhere. Or you can just take the screenshot. Maybe set aside a particular time frame because you can get lost in the data here. But all of this is free and open to you. But remember, there's all these other search trend analysis tools that you can use too. So let's get back to the video. Finally, a competitor analysis. A competitor analysis is all about researching who is selling a similar product or service to me in my category. And what is their position in the marketplace? How are they known? And what are they popular for? Another way of thinking about this is asking ourselves, what are the problems that you are looking to address yourself? And who in the world is solving that problem right now? And before you claim that no one else is doing this but me, or I have no competitors, you must know that everyone has a competitor, whether it's obvious to you or not. For example, if you have a market stall, your direct competitors are those selling similar foods near you, or selling any foods near you in a 50-meter vicinity. If you're starting a cafe, it might be similar cafes to you in that area, or anywhere that has free Wi-Fi close to you, if that's what you're selling. If it's a homemade pie, your competition would be other bakers, large bakeries, small bakeries delivering to the same shop, and also, a shop's own in-store bakery that you were selling in. The best way to conduct a competitor analysis is simply by starting to Google the product or service as if you are looking to buy it yourself. And you'll most definitely find a long list of competitors. Once you've found some competitors, you want to have a stalk of their social media and their website. And you want to be able to answer 4 basic questions. Firstly, how are they positioned in the marketplace? How do people in the world see them? Are they perhaps the cheapest alternative on offer, or are they a premium artisan, or do they focus on customer service? Secondly, you want to ask yourselves, what are their prices on their website? Maybe they're really low or really high, or maybe they're competitive prices. Then you want to ask, what are their strengths as a business? And finally, you want to ask, what are their weaknesses as a business, or what could you do much better than them? You want to be able to start by analyzing your closest 10 competitors, and you can find a template for doing this on Canvas with a simple fill in the blanks Excel spreadsheet to do just this. These environmental analysis tools are the basic building blocks of being a successful business owner. These tools just aren't something that you do once, as I said before. You have to stay hip and cool. And to do that, you need to be constantly aware of all the emerging trends that are happening and all the emerging new businesses that are growing around you. So once we've done that, it's time to focus our attention back onto that of the customer. So let's do that in our next video.